Hi everyone, welcome to this video today. For today's video, I will be redesigning Wanda from Fairly Odd Parents into a Winx character. For today's video, I'm not really drawing her in the Winx style, but more so my style and just designing her if she were in the universe of Winx Club. Growing up, I was a huge fan of Winx Club. They were everything for me. I was obsessed with fairies and the concept of the show, and more than anything, I wish to be part of it. And also, Fairly Odd Parents had always been one of my favorite shows growing up. And recently, I was telling my coworker how I wish I had more ideas, and then he told me why don't you merge two concepts together, and he asked me what were my favorite shows, and I brought up these two shows, and he was like, maybe you can merge those two. And I was like, oh my god, I never thought of that. So I instantly went to the drawing board and I was like, I need to figure this out. And I wanted to start off with her human form because, all the Winx Club characters had a human form. And I just wanted to imagine how her everyday outfit would look like, especially in the time zone of the Winx, which I also feel like she would dress like that, with bell bottoms and a style that is so similar to how the Winx dressed up as well. But that's just my headcanon. I wanted to make sure that I include the swirls in her hair, the very iconic bang motion that she has going on, and the little tail swirl that she has in her hair as well. I'm pretty sure in the show it's more so of a bun, but I really just wanted to stylize it and make it more dramatic, and I really like how it looks. For her human design, I was going to go for black pants, but I did notice that her pants in the newer adaptation of Fairly Odd Parents had a dark red for the pants color, and I felt like it would have worked better for Winx Club since they don't really have a lot of black and white in the show, so I thought I would choose something more colorful for her, and I think it worked out really great. I think it looks so good with the yellow shirt. And I also wanted to incorporate as much stars in her outfit as I can. Seeing her wand and everything, I feel like is very crucial for her design. And of course, I can't forget the yellow pearl earrings. I thought they would look really good with a pearl necklace as well, so I also added that to her design, and I think it looks great. And also her iconic 3 long lashes. I know this is more of a choice based on the style of her show, but I think it's still iconic, and I made sure to have her have 3 major lashes in my style as well. I also made sure her design has a lot of triangles because I feel like it is very apparent in the style of the show, and I wanted to just hint more at it as much as I can. And also with her hair, it has an edge on one side and the swirl on the other, and I also wanted to do that. And the neckline for her shirt and relatively longer sleeves, just to go back to the original shirt design. I definitely cropped it because I just wanted to yassify it a little and make it more stylish, as all the Winx characters are known to be, especially being younger than she is in the Fairly Odd Parents show. At the end of her design, I just added a simple rim light and some a gradient type of shadow from going from the bottom up and a bit of a lighter color from the top, just to make it look a little more softer and organized. For the next design, I wanted to design her basic fairy form, which is basically just the Winx fairy form. Since they have so many other forms of transformation, I just wanted to start with the simplest one. And for that one, I looked a lot at their designs, and they were all kind of either a one piece or a two piece with skirts or a short here and there, and Tekna, I believe, had pants, but I just saw her more in a skirt, and I exaggerated her hair a little bit more, and I made sure to add the star and the crown as accessories to the design for this one as well, and I feel like it worked out pretty well. I also still added the pearl earrings, but I just made them a lot more dramatic, and the same for the necklace. I still wanted to incorporate the design of her regular shirt just so that I don't stray too far from her original design. So I was trying to add sleeves, but it did not work out really, so I just added one sleeve, and I felt like the asymmetry kind of worked out, so I kind of kept that. I also wanted to incorporate the darker colors in her original design as per the black pants or the dark red pants in her redesign. So I wanted to add it. I did struggle a lot with it because it just kept feeling off for some reason, but I eventually just lowered the opacity, and it kind of worked out at the end. For her wings, I noticed that most of the Winx characters had pointy wings, and her wings in the show are very curved. So I just added a pattern for the wings where it kind of looks curved on the inside, but it still follows the same type of wing shape that the rest of the wings kind of have in common. And at first I wanted to make the wings green because they look good with her pink hair, but I remembered how her wings are actually blue, and I changed that later. And I cannot believe for the longest time I actually almost forgot her wand. When I was almost done with the design, I noticed how Stella has her wand. I don't remember what it was called in the show, but I was like, oh my gosh, this is a concept that exists in Winx, so Wanda should definitely have her wand as well. But I didn't want it to be just a regular star because it kind of looked, just fake or like a child's toy, so I just wanted to add more of a design to it. And it was something really simple, really, just to make it a little bit more interesting rather than just adding a star. My headcanon is that Wanda as a Winx Club fairy would be a fairy of the mind, much like Musa, because in her Fairly Odd Parents show, she was able to grant Tim's wishes, but what if all of this was just in his head and all of it was an illusion? And I feel like that's the closest I can get to the Winx Club universe. So I would say she's capable of manipulating what you see and what you think, because she's a fairy of the mind. Not necessarily music exactly like Musa, but still within the same category as Musa. I was worried a little that, because she has a lot of yellows in her design, she would be more so associated with a fairy of light, but that's why I really wanted to just add more darker colors into her design, even if they're not 90% like the yellow, but just to give it more depth. And I think it worked out okay. Definitely could have done better, but that's all I was able to do at the time. And again, like the regular design, I added a simple rim light and a gradient shading darker on the bottom and lighter on the top, and I think it looks great. And of course I did not make any backgrounds because I suck at those. For the next design, I wanted to do an Enchantix form, and that's because Enchantix was one of my favorites, and I think it's very iconic. For that one, I tried to see the patterns in their Enchantix designs, and I noticed that all of them have very flowy outfits with layers on them and usually a band or a belt type of thing, and definitely long light gloves, and their hair was a lot more exaggerated, and they had a sort of highlight situation in their hairstyles, and also like some buns here and there, and crowns, and definitely bigger and more detailed wings. And also I noticed that for their outfits, they're no longer as limited to one color, so their outfits actually had more colors than they did in their regular form, so that kind of gave me more freedom in coloring her for this one. And also I noticed that they do have gradients in their colors, so that was actually something that helped me out a lot, because for me it was really hard to bring all those colors together without the use of gradients, and I feel like the gradient really fixed it all together and made it look so much better. And of course I wanted to add the stars and the pearls into her design as much as I possibly could, just to go back to her wand and her jewelry. Sometimes I would find it kind of hard to make her still seem like Wanda, especially that Wanda's design is so simple and this design is a lot more complicated, but I tried my best with what I had. And for her wings, I still did the same trick that I did with her regular fairy form, and I added a very circular and smaller wing pattern looking thing inside of the wing, which kind of looks like a smaller circular wing from afar, or at least in the very earlier stages before I made the wings a lot more transparent. For this design, her bangs swirl is a lot more subtle, and it does not look as her original design as much as it did in the other ones, but I just wanted to change her hairstyle and make it more flowy, like how the Winx characters had in the Enchantix form. I did love adding the buns because, like I mentioned earlier, I'm pretty sure in the original design she kind of has a bun in the back, and I kind of ignored that for the other two designs, so for this one I just wanted to get it back. I think out of all of them, this design is my favorite. I enjoyed it so much. It was really fun working on it, and I loved the highlights in her hair and how she looked, and I just love fairies in general, so this was like so fun for me. Even though I do think that this design is definitely more Winx than it is Wanda, but again, Wanda's design is so simple and an Enchantix form is much more complex, so just putting those two together, it was really hard for me to keep that Wanda essence to be as high as it could be without kind of losing her a little bit. For this design, I was really happy to have more darker colors into her design rather than all the yellows that she had in her previous ones, because again, I didn't want her to be associated with a fairy of light, and I feel like the darker colors with the light ones just add more to her being a fairy of illusions and fairy of the mind, basically, and I think it worked out better as per the color scheme rather than the other design. And these are our final designs. I really hope you guys like them, and let me know if you would have done anything different, or you wish that something was different in the design, or if you like it. I would really love to know your feedback. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and goodbye.